Hey everybody, welcome to the Soap Thing Project. In this video we're going to do a shave off between the Gillette Atra and the Gillette Sensor. Coming up next. Alright, I want to thank everybody for joining me today, and if you find yourself really enjoying the content, I hope you'll consider hitting the subscribe button. And this video was requested by a viewer named Jack. He asked me if I could do a comparison between the Gillette Atra and the Gillette Sensor. So that is exactly what we're going to do today. Now before we get started, let's get the subject of availability out of the way. Both of these are vintage handles. You would have to find them on eBay or secondhand somewhere in order to get your hands on one. I will say this, however, both of these cartridges, the Atra Plus cartridge and the Sensor and Sensor XL cartridges, you can still get those brand new, usually at a Walgreens or a CVS. I usually get mine on Amazon. And you can get handles to go with them. They're just not the original handles. So do keep that in mind when you're searching for these razors. Okay, first off, let's talk about the Gillette Atra for a moment. This razor is the older of the two. It was made by Gillette from 1976 until 1991. And this razor is significant in a lot of ways. First off, it's the first razor from Gillette anyway, maybe even the first razor period, but certainly the first from Gillette that has a pivoting head for the cartridge. As you can see, it pivots up and down. It does not pivot side to side like newer razors do. The other thing that's significant about it is, as far as I know, it is the last Gillette razor to use date codes. In this case, it's an H1, so first quarter of 1987. But as far as I'm aware and all the reading I've done, there are no more date codes after this. And as far as I'm concerned, this razor has the better build quality of the two, and it's also the more aggressive razor. It has more blade feel than the Sensor. Speaking of the Sensor, let's talk about it. Here we have the Gillette Sensor, and this razor was made from 1989 until 2005, and I think what makes this razor significant is the small form factor. As you can see, it has a very slim handle and a very slim head or cartridge. It's even ever so slightly smaller than the Atra. I don't know if you can see that, but it's just a little bit smaller. In my opinion, this razor has less blade feel, and it's a bit more comfortable than the Atra. The Atra is actually strikingly aggressive for a cartridge razor. It really is pretty fascinating. One of the things that is a little bit of a drawback about these, this one is fine, but I have seen some Sensor handles where the metal will separate from the plastic in the center. This one and one of my other ones doesn't seem to have that problem, but I did have a third one a few years ago where it actually started to split right down here. So the build quality on the handle is good, but not great. I think the Atra, especially the all-metal handles, is just a little bit durable. Obviously, if you take either of these and just bounce them off the walls, neither of them are going to hold up very long. That's not what they're built for, but this one is just ever so slightly higher build quality. And there you have it. That's the Atra and the Sensor. So let's do a shave off. For this shave, we're going to use Proraso Wood and Spice shaving cream. And let's talk about it really quickly, because in my opinion, there are a couple things to complain about. Now, the first problem I have with this is that it is extremely difficult to get the soap out of it. Like, I cannot overstate how difficult and frustrating it is to squeeze the soap out of this. It's so difficult, in fact, that once I'm done doing the shave video with this, I'm actually going to take a knife and cut this open and empty it into one of these little empty shaving soap tubs so that it's easier to use. The other thing about it, I guess it's not really a problem, but in my opinion, this smells close enough to Proraso Red, which is a sandalwood scent, that in my personal opinion, if you have one, there's no reason to get the other. The scents are both too similar to each other to be perfectly justified, if you know what I mean. In any case, I digress. So there's the soap we're going to use today, Proraso Wood and Spice. We're going to chase the soap with Denim Original Aftershave, and this is more of a cedarwood scent, but in my opinion it complements the scent of the Proraso pretty well. And the brush is going to be from QED USA. This is a QED Select, and this is a Manchurian Silver Tip Badger. These are really affordable. I mean, the whole brush, not in everything, is just 65 bucks. Usually that's really difficult to do for a Badger brush, to get it under $70, $80, $90, but this one is a really comfortable brush. It's just a tad on the scratchy side, but as far as performance, feels great on the face, whips up a great lather. There is nothing to complain about. So if you're looking for an affordable Badger, check out the QED Select brushes from QED USA. So let's take all this stuff, bring it together, make a lather, put it on the face, and shave with it. Let's get started. Okay, today on the face we have about 30 hours growth, and we have the Proraso Wood and Spice lathered into the Hendrix Classics & Company stainless steel bowl. And the scent strength on this is about a 4 out of 5. And the scent character is exactly what it sounds like. It's a woody, spicy scent. It's not the very same as the Proraso Red, but it's close enough that, like I said before, in my opinion, if you've got one, there's not too much of a reason to get the other one. Oh, and by the way, this QED Select brush is made by the same company that makes the Savile Row, for those who might not have known that, by the way. So let's wet the face. Got a sink full of cold water. And we're going to do this shave off the way we always do it, where I lather one side of my face at a time. And we have the Gillette Atra on the left and the sensor on the right. So let's put the soap on and get started. No pre-shave today, because I want these razors to speak for themselves. This is a rich lather. I love Proraso. Like, I don't know why more people don't use it more often. This stuff is absolutely good to go. The lather quality is really fantastic. Okay. Let's get started. So usually I lather one side of my face at a time, so I'm just going to have to be very careful not to shave on the wrong side of my face. But here we go. Gillette Atra with a fresh Atra Plus cartridge in it on the left side. Here we go. And yeah, this one, Gillette wasn't playing around when they made this. The blade feel and the exposure. I know we're not used to people talking about exposure and efficiency and blade feel with cartridge razors, but this one is no joke. If you're not paying attention and shaving with a little bit of self-respect, it's going to bite, and it's going to bite pretty hard. The lubricating strip on both of these is not as bad as some. It's totally unnecessary with a shaving soap like this, but it's not going to leave this heavy layer of goop on your face like the Schick Extreme 5 or the Gillette Fusion Pro Glide. It's not going to do any of that. Okay, Gillette sensor on the right side. Let's do it. Now this one I feel like is the tuggier of the two. That's just commonplace for cartridge razors. I will say both of these are far less tuggy on your face than most newer cartridge razors, so they have that going for them. But there's less blade feel. I do find myself having to press down against my face slightly harder than the Atra. And I talked about this before in my my Gillette Atra video a few videos ago. I'll put the video number across the bottom of the screen. But both of these have the head mounted pretty much dead center. And so there's less incentive to press firmly against your face like you would with, this is a Gillette Fusion Pro Glide, by the way. But because the head is mounted towards the bottom, it really incentivizes you to push it against your face so that the blades are making contact with your face. And then the blades are recessed, and so it's even more of a problem. And so the kind of people who are getting, razor rash, razor burn, razor bumps, all of the above, it's usually because they're pushing the razor against their face too hard to try to get it to make contact. Well, with these razors, it's significantly less of an issue. You don't have to push against your face hardly at all. Okay, let's lather up again for another pass. And we're going to do it the right way this time. We're going to lather one side of the face first. A little bit more water. Okay. And let's go across the grain like normal. Neither of these have a sideburn trimmer or a trimmer to get under your nose, like the Gillette Fusion Pro Glide has one on the top side. These older ones don't have those. But the other side of that coin is you don't need them to, because the heads are really small. I'm being really careful not to open up that bump I got from slicing my lip open with the with the leaf twig razor. That was ridiculous. That was bad. Okay, let's go down here and across the chin. Ooh, I felt it bite a little bit there. You gotta be careful with this one. Like, it's not as big of a deal as like your average safety razor, but as far as cartridge razors go, the Gillette Atra is not playing around. It's a bit on the aggressive side. And after this, we're going to do an alum block to see which razor left the most feedback. I'm assuming it's going to be the Atra, but I've never done this before, so we'll see. The Atra is heavier. I didn't do any exact measurements, but I can tell just by feeling them that the Atra is maybe 50% heavier. This is really light, actually. It's surprisingly, I think even the Fusion Pro Glide, yeah, is heavier than this. So, but it's got that small form factor going for it. The Atra cartridges are a bit more expensive than the sensor cartridges. This is just a regular sensor cartridge, by the way. It's not a Sensor XL, which has these little flaps on the bottom of the head to kind of pull your skin for you. I've never found those to be that useful above and beyond the regular sensor cartridges, so just save your money and get the regular ones. You're not missing anything. I'm going to use this to just touch up in a couple places. I keep the Atra around mainly for nostalgia purposes because that's what my dad was using when he was my age. I seem to remember him saying that he used the Atra in the 80s and 90s. And then by the end of the 1990s and into the early 2000s, he kind of became a electric shaver. My dad is, and always was, a very utilitarian shaver. Okay, let's have a rinse and see how we did. There's more Lubristrip goop from the Atra than the sensor, which is to be expected because it has a bigger lubricating strip. Interesting. Oddly enough, the sensor was a closer shave. I'm pretty sure the Atra was the first Gillette razor to have a lubricating strip. Maybe the Track 2 had one, but I'm pretty sure the Atra was the first. Oh, man. Shave looks like $1,000,000. Okay, here we have the piece of crap alum block from Proraso. I'm just kidding. This came apart in the mail. It's not Proraso's fault, but it's in rough shape. But I can still use the top and bottom of it. It's still pretty straight and smooth. So let's put it on the face. See what we got here. Oh, that's weird. The sensor side is getting more feedback. That's weird because the Atra is the more aggressive razor. Maybe I was being more careful. I tend to get complacent with the sensor. The Atra, on the other hand, I kind of am more inclined to pay more attention. But let's wash this off. Yeah, that's weird. All right, let's move on to the aftershave. All right, time for some Denim Original. Let's put some on the face. I can't get over how weird that is. I'm getting no feedback from the aftershave over here, but I'm getting all kinds of feedback over here. I don't know. Makes me question my cartridge shaving skills just a little bit, if you know what I mean. All right, let's talk about them. Let's talk about the Atra and the sensor. So if you're interested in either of these, and you already know that you enjoy a more aggressive shave with more blade feel, and you want just a nostalgic piece of shaving history, get the Atra. The build quality is slightly better. The cartridges are a little bit more aggressive. And in my opinion, to be honest with you, I think this razor just kind of looks better than the sensor. Having said that though, the sensor is a bit more comfortable for me, but that's because when I'm using safety razors, I tend to prefer safety razors that have neutral blade exposure or very minimal positive exposure. So this kind of fits my MO just a little bit more than the Atra, but both of them are good shavers. If you're trying to shave with a piece of cartridge razor history, you can't go wrong with either of these. So they're both good to go. That'll be the video for today. I hope everybody found it interesting. Questions, comments, put them in the comment section of the video. Otherwise, do us all a favor and shave like you mean it. Thanks for watching.